Okay.
Tanong mo ito na eh? Meron ko ito may kinahus. Ito mula marami. Naka. Ay, many. As you heard, the last time I was here was 2012. This time around, I see a difference in the surrounding because the school has been damaged by Cyclone Wilson. I was just talking to the Attorney General to find out when exactly will the schools be repaired. And he said that they're just getting all the assessments together from the contractors that are going to build the schools, and they will start. Hopefully when they draw cards from the head, the school here at Visaru will be the first one to be repaired. I also heard from Minister Bala, who's Minister responsible for road fixing. He said that there's a project out by by FRA to tassel all the roads near the schools and villages. And he also says that this road might be tasseled first before every other school. So thank you, Attorney General, and thank you, Minister Bala. The Attorney General and Minister for Finance, honorable ministers and members of Parliament, my fellow Fijians, and a very good afternoon to you all. I have come to see you all to explain face to face what we are doing to solve some of the challenges our industry is facing. When I say the industry, I mean the sugar industry. And in particular, to counter some of the lies that are being spread in our sugarcane growing areas about what is happening and what the future holds. But before I do, I want to say as Prime Minister how pleased and proud I am to be here in Ba with some of the most hardworking people in Fiji, our sugarcane farmers. Like so many Fijians, some of you in Ba are still recovering from the impact of Cyclone Wilson 5 months ago. I know because many of you have told me that you are grateful for the help for homes. As you know, this initiative has never been done by any other government. And we have so far spent $88 million on this program. And in the new budget, we have also allocated $20 million to help those who may have missed out in the first round. We have also allocated in the new budget $205 million to rebuild all the schools, health centers, public facilities, and for agriculture and fisheries rehabilitation. Friends, I'm here today to talk to you about a number of issues that affect you, both personally and as a cane farmer. And I do so as someone who takes great pride in improving the circumstances of ordinary Fijians like yourselves. As I said over the last couple of days, when I've been talking to cane farmers such as you, in order for you to participate equally in the Fijian economy, you first of all had to be treated as equal citizens of our country. And you know, everyone in Fiji knows that no government in the past has ever tried to do that. I did that when I came on board in 2006. We are now all Fijians. Everyone is now called a Fijian. This is what my government had given you, because under the 2013 Constitution, you are no longer second-class citizens. I know many of you are descendants of the Gilmetias who were subjected to the harshest of conditions. The prejudiced Indo-Fijians suffered stress through colonial times and even into independent Fiji, because Fiji was used to that mentality over the many years past. Many of you suffered a great deal during the coup of 1987 and 2000. But I'm proud to say that those bad days are gone. Through the Constitution, we have a common and equal citizenry. And enjoying equal rights has been very important for human dignity and the lives of every Fijian. Now that everyone is equal in the eyes of the Supreme Law, our Constitution, when you give people assistance, it also has to be given equally on the basis of merit and especially on the basis of need. To improve the lives of every Fijian, my government is spending a great amount of money on roads, on water, on electricity and other services. I know some of you may still not have access to electricity or piped water, but as I've been saying over the last couple of days, you'll find the government officials working very hard to get that across to you. But also many of you now enjoy these services for the first time. And my government will continue its program of extending them as many people as possible across the country. We have also provided a lot of money for education, free schooling and scholarships, and tertiary loans to enable many more of our young people, our children and grandchildren, to gain access to higher learning. These qualifications are opening up all sorts of possibilities for these people to get better jobs, start their own business, and participate widely in our economy. We've also given low-income earners access to free medicine, like yourself, and given the elderly pensions for the first time. We have subsidized water for people like you and also subsidized electricity. A lot of you do not know that, but government pays about 17 cents in your bill. So we are helping pay your electricity bill and also your water bill. And now we're giving free medicine and elderly pensions for the first time. So what we've been trying to do is to produce a fairer society, a more equal society. This has never happened in Fiji before, in which even the poorest family has an opportunity to improve its circumstance. When it comes to the sugarcane industry, there was no question that it was in steady decline until my government intervened to put it on a better footing. For example, the amount of cane needed to produce sugar has been drastically reduced by making the process more efficient. As you know, the TCT just a few years ago was about 13 and 14. Now it's just over 8. Friends, before my government took office, our sugar mills we were literally falling apart. If you remember, the previous government had engaged some Indian companies to refurbish those mills, but the result was not good. As I also said, in the past, it was a loan of about $85 million to do this through the government of India, Exim Bank. That $85 million was thrown into the sea. It was useless. As I've also been told, out of all the mill equipment that came from India, bought by this $85 million, only 50% of them worked. 50% was thrown out. And that 50% that worked, it only worked 50% of the time. So it was a really bad deal for the people of Fiji. So we had to direct additional resources to save those mills and make them more efficient. To ensure the renewal of sugarcane leases, we spend about $9 million a year to assist those farmers whose leases have expired or are expiring. And we are paying a top-up of 4% above the 6% paid to the TLTB to provide landowners with an incentive to renew those leases. This program is called SIBUL. Friends, I know that there's been a lot of talk about not enough being done for sugarcane, especially in the wake of the two new bills that are now before a standing committee of parliament. Certain opposition politicians and former politicians have been spreading a lot of misinformation about what is in those two bills. And that is why exactly we've been around, so that we can talk to you face to face and explain the misinformation that's been thrown to the public, especially our cane industry. They claim that the bills will take away the rights of cane farmers. They even say that the bills are forcing farmers into another gurmit. A ridiculous notion, I say, that insults the memories of those who genuinely suffered when they were first brought to Fiji. These people who have come before the committee have been making all sorts of wild comments. They have caused a great deal of misunderstanding about what is it that these bills, and they have done it in a manner that is very irresponsible. Unfortunately, I have to say to you today that a lot of the comments that have been made by people like Mahendra Chaudhary, Biman Prasad, Prem Singh, and others are completely false. And I just found out that they're all from Mumbai. As usual, they are trying to politicize the sugarcane industry, and they are trying to use you for their own political gain. In particular, they are using you to try to drive a wedge between you and me, who has been running this country for the last 10 years. To create distrust, to create uncertainty. I know it's not going to work because, friends, you know, I've always been there for you. I've stood by you. I've always served your best interests. And I want to assure you all today that I will never use you in the way that they are using you for my political gain. I've told you many times that I will never exploit you, and I will always be straight with you. If something cannot be done, I will tell you so. I have and will be honest with you always, and I can assure you that these bills will not adversely affect you as individual cane farmers. And remember that your rights will always be protected in the Constitution. There's a couple of amendments that I will bring about in the bill. For example, registered growers there's been some concern about registered growers paying a fee. Well, registered growers will no longer have to pay a fee for having their farms registered or changing their records. That provision will be removed. In relation to the Cane Growers Council, I know some of the politicians have been pushing for elections. But as you know, that has been very detrimental to the interest of the industry. It's funny, I said yesterday that this particular minister who was a minister in my government after 2006, he proposed that we turn the numbers down from 38 to 24, I think it was. And he said to remove, that was to remove politics from the council. Now, I hear Chaudhry wants to reverse it again. So he wants to come back in because of politics. But as you know, politics has been very detrimental to the interests of the industry. Instead, we will expand the membership of the council. I'm sure you'll all agree that a council that is not politicized will perform a lot better. There will be no fighting between SDL and SVT and Labour and NFP. Fiji First don't fight. We just stand and watch from the top. So I'm sure that I said that you will agree that a council that is not politicized will perform a lot better. So I'll be increasing the membership of the council by ensuring that each district will be represented on the council. Each district will be represented on the council. Furthermore, this expanded council will be required by law to consult all the growers through their sectors and districts on a regular basis. That is very important. And one of the requirements that we want to put into the amendments to the bill is that the Cane Growers Council must, on a regular basis, go out and consult all the growers. Friends, the other significant aspect of the bill that we are going to change is to remove the section on industrial disputes. As you know, since 1984, a provision was put in place to treat farmers like employees by bringing them under an industrial dispute mechanism. You know who are involved in this, eh? There is nothing new. This was like going back to the colonial times, and the law has been in place since 1984. Unfortunately, this provision was carried through in the bill, but I will now take it out. This means if you decide not to plant or harvest your cane, that will be your choice, whether it is a protest or not. If your neighbor wants to harvest and cultivate, that will be his choice. So friends, there are some of the changes we are making. I know some politicians are claiming that the tribunal is not independent, but that simply is not true. Because the tribunal is appointed by the Chief Justice. Some people are also claiming that the current master ward will be changed soon as the bills become law. Take it from me that this won't happen. It will not happen. The current master ward will continue. However, in further negotiations, this is very important, regarding the master ward, the Growers Council must have an input. The FSC must have an input. The public must have an input. And the law forces the minister to make sure that the new master ward cannot be implemented without the consent of the Growers Council and the FSC. So all these protections are there for you in the law. So you are protected. Friends, let me announce some of the other initiatives that we'll be undertaking over the next few months to help you as cane growers. Oh, I've also heard that the government must not own FSC 100%. But they're not telling you all the facts, that the three companies, the three entities that the sharehold with the government in FSC, they've never in the past years given any money which government has been putting in to develop our industry. So this bill will allow government to buy their shares. That's all. I think that's fair. But the way it's been put to you from these past politicians, as if when we own FSC, we're going to throw you out of your cane farm. That's something that's not going to be tolerated from us. But as chair of TLTB, some of the other initiatives that we intend to put out, as chair of the TLTB, I've directed the TLTB and also the Lands Department to ensure that for all leases that are expiring, the lessee must be told 5 years in advance whether the lease is to be extended or not renewed. Okay? 5 years. NLTB and Lands Department will tell you whether or not your lease is to be extended or not renewed. No longer will you be in danger of finding out just before the lease expires that you have to leave. And this gives you certainty and enables you to make proper plans to find somewhere else to live. It is about giving leaseholders security and peace of mind to enable them to properly manage their affairs and also their lives. I also want to announce that the TLTB has set aside $500,000 to be matched by the government with another $500,000 to assist tenants who are disadvantaged, are behind in their rent, and are facing financial hardship. This includes the elderly without pensions who are ill, tenants of all ages with a chronic illness, those who have lost their jobs, or those with disabilities. There is specific assistance for elderly cane farming tenants above the age of 60 with no other source of income than cane proceeds. We will pay your leases for you. The TLTB, of which I'm the chairman, has also agreed to set aside another $1 million to assist those people who hold leases and who have been affected by Cyclone Winston. This will go towards the payment of their leases, and more details of this will be released in the next couple of weeks. I also want to announce today that government will provide replanting assistance to those farmers who have been affected. Replanting assistance to those farmers who have been affected by Cyclone Winston. As you know, my government has allocated $11 million for the replanting effort, and cyclone victims will be given first priorities. But listen, upon finalization of the total hectares damaged, we estimate that about 2,000 a hectare will be given to each recipient. This is available now. All you have to do is see the FAC staff. Yes. See the FAC staff who will come and assess the damage in your cane fields or your cane, and they will give you the appropriate assistance. It's not in terms of grant, money, dollar, but they will find an assistance for you. Based on current figures, we are looking at about $9 million being given to cane farmers who have been affected by Cyclone Winston. This money will also be used to assist other cane farmers for their replanting on existing cane fields, not just fallow land. That is also important because there's a lot of issues raised up on this. Yeah? That money will also be used to assist other cane farmers for their replanting on existing cane fields, not just fallow land. The burning of cane is also a growing issue, growing problem, and we are responding to the needs of those farmers whose crop is burned. If you are targeted, you can now report the burning to the nearest police post, and that report will be action from that post. You previously could not do that, but now you can, and FSC will assist you in getting a cane to the mill as quickly as possible. But I think yes, FSC should also assist in taking the sample of the cane to be tested, because they have the transport, which the cane farmers don't have. I've also received reports that there are some cane fields which have debris in the cane fields, probably ones close by here, which have iron roofing and nails and wood that would make it very hard for the cane cutters to get in and cut the canes. I've given FSC the endorsement and approval for those canes to be burned. Okay? But I haven't finished yet. You don't just go out and burn your cane. You have to prove to FSC that it has debris, that it has iron roofing and nails and wood that would hamper the process of cane cutting. Please be honest. We want you to be honest, because if not, the police will come down very hard on you. Thank you very much. I know that there's also concern about the condition of cane access roads. I've been told that we have fixed 92%, but I'm not really satisfied with that number. I think that there needs to be a lot more work done. But with the increased allocation in the budget and together with EU assistance, we are going to upgrade many more of those cane access roads. And we are also going to fix the process of getting cane access roads fixed. Because I've also heard a lot of complaint about how contractors are called in and how the roads are fixed. The Sardar takes over and Tahsil's is home. Those little issues need to be fixed. We have been very fortunate, as I've said also in the past, to secure the services of Mr. Vishnu Mohan to take over his chair of the FSC and assist the CEO and the FSC board. He will work very closely with the farmers. I want you to know that is his role. We have given him the responsibility to work very closely with you and find out exactly how we can change the way we manage the business to improve your proceeds or what you can get out of the farms. Mr. Mohan is a distinguished banker who headed the Pacific Regional Operation of the ANZ Bank. He also had experience as a commodity trader and is a familiar face in Fiji, having been chairman of the Fiji Public Service Commission. I know some people have said he's only a banker, what does he know about the sugar industry and the sugar cane? But the modern day sugarcane industry isn't just about production. It's also about marketing. And we need to make a bigger effort to find new markets and give our growers the best possible return. It's also about running our mills efficiently. I'm convinced that Mr. Mohan has the skills to take our industry to another level. Part of his job, as I've said, will be to preside over an improvement in the way the FSC deals with people in the industry. And I think many of the issues that are coming from you farmers is to do with the way FSC does business. You will see a lot of changes from now on. And I look forward to him starting in his role on the 8th of August. So friends, with these announcements, I want to assure you all that the sugar industry is here to stay. We cannot afford to let it go. If you hear Prem Singh and Biman Prasad talk in Parliament about the sugar industry, it's as if everything has collapsed. The world is coming to an end. The sun won't rise tomorrow morning. But we can't afford really to let the sugar industry go because your livelihood depends on it. Basically, that's the reason why I want the sugar industry to keep on going. Because most of you, if not all of you, your livelihoods depend on the sugar industry. Not just because of the proceeds, but it gives you a place to stay. So we need to keep it going. My new permanent secretary, Yogesh Karan will be working very closely with the permanent secretary for agriculture, Jiten Singh, because as you know, there are great opportunities for other forms of food production in our sugar producing areas. Unlike the opponents, I don't talk the industry down because I can't afford to kill this industry like some politicians. Never has talk been so cheap than when it comes from the lips of some of those has-beens and opposition MPs. They have the same basic speech: blame Bainimarama, blame the government, blame anyone but not themselves. But it has been left to us to take up the challenge, and we intend to meet it. We are ending decades of neglect and mismanagement in the sugarcane industry. We are ending decades of racial politics, decades of manipulation by opportunistic politicians of ordinary cane farmers. My government is working hard as it can to turn our industry around and guarantee its future. Guarantee your future. That is most important for me and the government. The future of your families and your children. I'll tell you the little story. When I was commander of the RFMF, I used to go regularly. Excuse me. I used to travel regularly to visit my engineers who are all over the country, especially in the rural areas, building schools. And I used to travel up and down Madhuata. The events of 1987 carried on to 1997 when the leases expired. And we all know what happened. Politics came in. And some of those politicians, or some of those people that encourage that move are now in Parliament, sitting in the opposition, thank God. And you know, we all know what happened to the leases. The chiefs landowners were instructed to take back the lease. So all our friends up there in the north who depended on sugarcane for livelihood, all of a sudden had nothing, no place to stay, and no source of income. What happened? Now all that area is now bushland. Guava trees, paragrass, nothing is now planted on those. Some have tried, landowners have tried, but now they regretted it because they now don't take, they are now not access to lease money that used to come their way. But the sugarcane farmers now don't have a livelihood, so everyone loses. That's when politics come into play. So don't believe any politicians that come in here and talk to you about the sugar industry and how it's going down the drain. Because I and my government will always make sure that sugar industry survives, especially for the reason I told you. It goes, if it goes with the livelihood. I've just come back from Nukuloa. There was a lady that turned up there talking to me and Minister Balang about how she's been told to move out. She's got no place to stay now. No livelihood, no home. And that is one of the reasons I personally want this sugar industry to survive, because of your livelihood. Now, thank you.